fellow romance readers, I'm Amy.
And I'm Sarah, and this is Post-Book Depression. You know that feeling you get when you finish a good book that you didn't want to end?
Have you finished a book and just weren't ready to move on from the story and its beloved characters? You find yourself needing just a little more? This multi-trope romance podcast gives you the opportunity to dig deeper with us into books we love as we discuss all the reasons we can't move on.
Feeling chatty? You can continue the conversation with us on Instagram at Post-Book Depression Podcast or on Facebook in our Post-Book Depression discussion group.
We would be so grateful if you would subscribe to our podcast and take a moment to leave a review.
Are you ready? Let's discuss.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Amy.
And I'm Sarah, and today we're going to be discussing Stuck With You by Stacy Williams.
The first few minutes we're going to do a brief review of this story without any spoilers. Then we are going to shift over into a deeper book discussion. It's going to include lots of spoilers, but don't worry, we're going to let you know before we do shift over into that deeper book discussion.
That's right, so before we dive in, Amy, tell us a little bit about the story.
A single mom is trying to start over in a new town and runs into the grouchy garage mechanic in town. As they navigate around each other's secrets and past hurts, they build a connection that helps repair their old wounds. This heartwarming story will make you laugh, fall in love, and find healing in the friendships around you. Sarah, what did you think about Stuck With You?
I love Stacy Williams' writing. She has a way that her stories are very endearing, but there's so much depth to them.
Yes, agreed.
And I love the found family in this. I love the sweet little boy, Ollie. So sweet. And I love a grumpy character. I don't know why, because I don't gravitate to that in real life, but I really, really enjoyed this story, and I just love the growth of the characters and the healing that you kind of talk about, which we'll dive more into. It was a really good story.
This is the coziest story. Mm-hmm. I loved it so much. I adored the male main character's relationship with the female main character and her kids.
Yeah.
I loved his grouchy exterior and his gooey insides. I loved this hero so much. This story delivered exactly what I needed when I read it.
I know. And it's perfect because it's not a holiday story, but there's touches of the holiday season in there.
Yes.
And you get to see that gooey inside that this grumpy man has.
With depth, which we really struggled to find good holiday stories, which is why when we found this one that had a sprinkling of holidays in it, but it was a good story with depth, we opted to go this direction instead of just a straight holiday.
It's perfect for Amy and I because they're hard to write.
All right, let's get into those ratings. Angst.
This was just a 1 for me.
Same. There's just a hint of angst lying in the secrets of the two main characters.
Yeah.
Humor.
1.
I gave it a 2. There's some scenes of humor and some funny moments.
There is. I probably should bump that higher. I'm going to go 1.5. I just thought of a couple other things that I wasn't thinking about when I did that. 1.5.
Spiciness.
I'm going to say 1, but it's tastefully nondescript.
Interesting, because I wrote 1, slow burn and tastefully done. And I'm pretty sure she also includes at the beginning the chapter
that it's in.
So if you want to opt out of the spice, you have the option to do that.
Listen, I thought you don't get that very often where an author will let you know, and I appreciate that because not everybody wants that, and that is okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be more, and when I read it, I was like, this is totally non-descriptive. This is fine. But I get it. It's good if you need a polite pass.
Yes.
So thank you, Stacy, for doing that.
Yes. Tears.
1.
I gave it a 0. This story made me feel good more than anything else.
Well, it's not going to make you actually cry, but you don't sympathize with...
Yes, of course I sympathize. I mean, I do have a heart of stone, but
it is Christmas time, the holiday season.
I know. And there are a few things about the characters in their secrets but they're more angsty than sad to me. We'll discuss.
We're going to discuss this.
Overall,
this was a 4.5. It was such a sweet story.
It was a 5 for me. I really enjoyed this one. I love their dynamic and watching their love unfold. And it just gave me all the feels, which is exactly what I needed when I read it.
I know. Perfect.
That concludes a spoiler-free quick review of this story. Now we're going to shift over into the deeper book discussion. So if you haven't read the story, go check out the story and then, of course, come back and join us on our deeper discussion. We would love to connect with you on social media. You can find us on Instagram at Post-Book Depression Podcast, on Facebook in our Post-Book Depression discussion group, and you can also email us at postbookdepressionpodcast@gmail.com. This opening scene is a doozy. We have Sarah. Oh,
I know.
name.
Great name.
Love it. She has a run of bad luck, and there's been a poop explosion. And when I read the first
run of bad luck. No pun intended.
When I read these first few chapters, friend, there's a lot of poop, and I texted you, and I'm like, this author is really having a time.
Stacy was just keeping it real, okay? She's just keeping it real life, all right? And yeah, this is bad. I could just envision this mom holding the baby out, carrying her to the tub. Bless her heart. What a day. That's a rough way to start your morning.
It's such a rough way. She's a struggling single mom of 2. We have Ollie and Frankie.
So cute.
Her kid's so cute. Yeah, and she's paralegal, but she's also going to school, and she's just trying to race to get her kids ready and out the door so she can get to work. And we learned that she is new to this town. She's inherited a house, and kind of the only person she knows in this town is a neighbor lady that has kind of come with the house.
Right.
Her family member that gave her this house was friends with her, and it's kind of a built-in babysitter, if you will. So she's working to get her kids ready so she can rush out to her job as a paralegal. She's got a lot going on. Let's talk about Sarah.
Sarah's a very busy mom, and I feel for her, and I feel for her in that opening scene. It was rough. Yeah, she just has a lot going on, but I'm thankful that she has the little bit of help. But she's coming on some more bad luck, friend, because she's driving into work and her car is not doing so swell.
It is not. She drives a BMW, so fancy pants car that she's got, but she's really struggling financially. And she asks one of her bosses, the lady that we really like, if she has any recommendations on a mechanic in town that could take a look at her car. And she does have a recommendation, which happens to be Slade, our hero's garage. And so she shows up to this garage at 3 minutes till close.
I felt his frustration on that.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
For sure. But what's so funny is one of his coworkers has just left the building. He's in his office, so he doesn't know who's coming. He hears the door slam and doesn't know that it's her, and he hollers out, "Welcome back, a-hole. What'd you forget?" And this is their meet cute.
What a meet cute.
What a meet cute.
I love her response to him. Like, I've never been called that before.
She's very witty.
Yeah, she is very witty. And I have to say that I love that Slade is the grouchy one, and she has every right to just be put out in a bad mood. And the fact that she can have that little witty comeback to him when her whole day has just been crappy.
He's very grouchy. He's frustrated that she's coming in 3 minutes till when she talks about her car starting to break down, or tires or things like that. He makes the comment that she's driving an import and they don't work on imports, and he's not going to do it. And she's feeling frustrated, and finally talks him into at least just going for a ride to see what it is. And he's really frustrated with the fact that he's wanting to do something nice for her, but he's also making assumptions about her. She's got her fancy bag or fancy car. He's
made some assumptions very, just from her appearance alone, and which is so unfair. You know what they say about assuming. So
that's true. She actually needs all 4 tires and a few other things as well. On a side note, I like that. Well, she's struggling with the payment. She's trying to figure out, how am I going to afford this? And so in the texting back and forth to Slade, she's trying to break down what she absolutely has to get and what can wait. And in his mind, she needs everything.
Right.
Her car's falling apart.
And he also thinks that she can afford it. It's not...
He doesn't. All he knows is that she works in a lawyer's office or a firm. And so, as a side note, I love that one of his coworkers asks him, "You're going to fix them all, aren't you?" And he says, "Well, yeah." But he knows she's too smart for that. So he gets 4 used tires because he knows that she'll pick up on the fact that if he got new. That was a side note, and it's a little further into the story. But let's talk about Slade. He's a mechanic.
He raised his sister, Chrissy, after their mom's death. He was around 20. She was 13. Their dad's not in the picture. He's very grouchy and jaded from an ex-girlfriend. We'll dig a little more into her later. And so he's very protective.
Yes.
Very protective of his sister.
Let's talk about his relationship with Chrissy.
It's wonderful. They have a great relationship. She's ready to move out.
Yeah.
He's apprehensive about that, but also...
She's a nurse, I think?
She's a nurse, but he also recognizes, she needs to have her independence. The guys that work with him at the garage, they're very protective of her too. They're all kind of like found family, trying to encourage him, you better let her, or she's just going to go pick some dump and you're going to have no say. But he's a really great brother, and they have a really good dynamic. And
yes.
I love that about these two characters.
I do too. And he's had a good relationship with the original owner of this garage that he's worked under. He trained under him and then took ownership so this guy could take an early retirement. I also want to talk about the found family aspect of all the guys that work in the shop. They're so close-knit. I will say the guy's gossip chain is a little unrealistic and made me laugh at times.
It's a little
How
bit...
nosy they were.
Yeah, that made me laugh too, because I could think I've known one or two guys that are just as bad as these guys, but collectively as a whole, I was trying to picture my husband's group of guy friends, and I'm like, I totally cannot see them being that invested in whether or not one of them would be like dating. You need to get back out there and that kind of thing, but I love it for this story.
Yes,
it gives it that kind of cozy, probably not super realistic as far as the guy dynamic.
Yeah,
their group chat, but maybe, I don't know, there could be a group of guys out there that are mechanics, Amy, and very gossipy, like little old women.
I love the found family aspect of it. I was here for it. So he's been working on fixing her car. He's, taking it into the shop, but because they're so busy, it's going to take a little bit. So she doesn't have a car at the moment. The guys are kind of teasing and encouraging him to take a risk with her, maybe ask her out. One of my favorite scenes is when she's leaving the car with him. She comes back with her kids and she's leaving the car with him. And as he's entering her information into the computer system, one of the mechanics is there with him in the shop. And when she says her address, they have a reaction. And it's a very specific reaction. And friend, I gotta say, I did not see the fact that they were neighbors. I was thinking she's living in the wrong part of town.
I did too.
Okay.
I thought she's living somewhere super dangerous and they're all panicked because she has these two little babes. And
yes.
That's what I thought too. I did not see that they were across the street from each other.
I didn't either. I knew something was going to come out of it, but I didn't in the least expect them to be neighbors.
Right.
And so he's starting to see she's taking the bus to work in different places. And I love the scene where she's needing to get groceries. Chrissy kind of intercepts. This is where she meets for the first time. And Sarah misses the bus. And so Chrissy volunteers Slade. Oh, Slade can take you to go get groceries.
Well, and at this point, he's taken her to work.
Oh, yes. We have to talk about the first scene where she's on her
bus
waiting
stop,
on the bus and he makes her get in.
I know. He's very gruff with her.
This is where...
So always panics about the coat, too.
Are you following me? This is where she talks about... Or he tells her that he lives on her street.
Yeah. So that was funny. So he's taken her to work a few times. This is on a weekend.
Yeah.
That Chrissy catches this. And
they go to the grocery store. And this was such a telling scene because this is the first inclination that he glimpses into her life and realizes she's not made of money and she's actually struggling. Right.
I was very happy that he realized that his assumptions were incorrect and that he kind of had to swallow eat some like humble pie on his,
yes.
Because I was just, not that he ever said anything
he didn't
to
ever vocalize
her, but
any of that.
Just in his mind, I was like, yeah, you should acknowledge that you were wrong. He picks up on it because she puts back the Starbucks coffee because her little boy asked for oranges. And he recognizes the signs of a struggling mom because that's what he had dealt with. I love that he gives her privacy to shop and steps away because he recognizes this is kind of an awkward situation for them.
When he witnesses her put the coffee back on, I thought he's going to gift her with a bag of coffee.
I did too.
I saw it coming. But what that does transition me to one of my most favorite delightful scenes in this story. So she's trying to make cookies for Ollie's school the next day. And she's having quite the time. They're not really turning out the way she wants, and she's very frustrated because she's got booby cookies now. And she's throwing the batch away, and she goes out to the dumpster, and has just a moment with this dumpster. She kicks the can and doesn't realize that he's witnessing what's transpiring. She breaks some glass and hurts herself, and so he, of course, brings her back into the kitchen and sees the mess that
the cookies, the so-called cookies, which I know what kind of cookies she was trying to make. I'm like, yeah, she made booby cookies.
If they botch, yeah, you really need those cookies to turn out right.
You really need those cookies to turn out right, or they are going to look real weird.
So one of my favorite things is that he shows up the next morning with cookies and the coffee, because no kid should have to take booby cookies to school. And that was just such a sweet moment.
He is such a caretaker.
Yes.
And you don't typically get to label a lot of male characters with that as far as like across the board for this whole family. And I think just really love that.
This story really resonated with me, and I connected with it so much is because he is so nurturing to her and her kids. And you don't get that a lot with the heroes. And so I fell in love with him.
I did too.
So much. She's really down on her luck. She's in a life scenario where if it can go wrong, it's gonna go wrong. And the next thing that happens, her basement starts to flood. Poor thing. I am so grateful she does think of Slade and immediately goes across the street. But he's not alone. He's got the whole found family there. And I love that they all just jump in.
I do too.
Surrounding her and her kids with love, taking them under the wing and just going over to help with that. But unfortunately, she can't stay in her house while there's a flood. Where is she going to stay? We've got Chrissy to thank for this as well.
Chrissy's
to the rescue. She offers their house.
I love Slade's reaction because you could see that he's kind of like wanting to glare daggers at her.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, okay, so let's talk about why he's panicking a bit. Let's talk about his past relationship and the betrayal that he's feeling from his ex.
Yes. So the reason why he's apprehensive to have Sarah and her kids come stay with him is because it gives him a glimpse into the life that he thought he was going to have. He was in college when his mom got sick, and he moved back to take care of her, and he was in a relationship with a woman, and she gets pregnant, and he's so excited. It's one of the things that he tells his mom right before she passes is he's going to be a dad. She dies thinking that, and the baby is not his. And that relationship dissolves, and he was left devastated because he really wanted that. He wanted that life and felt like they were going to be okay. So for the last 10 years, he has steered clear of anything that's going to even remotely give him hope that there could be that kind of life for him. And Sarah and Ollie and Frankie are starting to awaken those desires and those feelings, and it makes him nervous and having her there. So I love that when she's staying there, he tries to skip out early the next morning. Before she gets up, and Ollie is in there. And I love this sweet moment where she comes in and she's panicked. It's like, Ollie, I said don't go in there. And they're making breakfast together.
I loved it so much.
It was the best scene. And that he's just, and I love how sweet he is with Ollie because Ollie has a stutter and he was in speech therapy before they moved, but she cannot afford it. And so he's kind of started to regress and it's getting more pronounced. And so he kind of struggles with his words. And I love that Slade is just so patient with him.
Oh, me too.
So that to me made me like...
He never rushes him, never corrects
plays
him.
With him with his little cars and listens to what he has to say, no matter how much he may struggle. He's a good guy.
In addition to Ollie, he also has a nurturing aspect with Frankie too. I love how anytime Sarah has her hands full, here, let me take the baby, let me hold Frankie, and there's a connection between. So he really has this bond between both Ollie and Frankie, which just really elevates him in my mind. So we are at the time of year for the holiday season. Yes. And this is one of the reasons we opted to do this book in December. I want to talk about the Thanksgiving scene when they are all having this Thanksgiving across the street with the family. They've invited Sarah and her kids to come over and be a part of that. And they really do just treat them like family. They come in and have this wonderful day on Thanksgiving with their found family.
Yeah, it's just a really special moment. This is, again, another time that you're seeing all of, not just Slade, but all of the guys really take to Ollie and to Frankie, and they're so kind. And I loved it for her because I can only imagine being a single mom and needing a support group but not having anybody. And then you come in and you've got all these guys and Chrissy that's always wanting to babysit. And I was just really thankful for that. And I love, it's not much of a holiday scene. She just gives us a couple little ones, but it's enough that it gives you all the cozy feels.
It does. And I really enjoyed the Christmas day. She was supposed to go spend Christmas with her mother, but it snowed. And so the weather keeps her from traveling, and he comes over that morning just to make sure she didn't leave in the snow, and they end up having the best day in the snow. He suggests they go pick out a Christmas tree for him in his house, and of course Ollie is thrilled with that idea. He wants to go, and they just have this Christmassy filled snow fun day with they had the sleigh out there, they picked out the tree, and all the snow, the fun things that you do. And they come home, and lo and behold, he's gonna put it in her house, but he's gotta go get the ornaments at his house. The kids are inside, and they have a little snowball fight.
They do.
And
it becomes a very sweet moment.
With some tension. I really wanted them to kiss.
I did too. But I understand why they didn't, but it was very like, well, boo.
I just felt the tension in the air in that scene, and it just gave me all the warm, fuzzy feels, especially with it being the Christmas vibe. Let's move over to talk about Miles, Sarah's ex-husband, and his narcissism, and the whole reason why she's behaving the way she is, where she's at in her life. Let's talk about Miles.
Yeah, Miles is a narcissist. He's had several affairs on her when they were married. He ruined her reputation, which, can we go ahead and address?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, well, we need to address...
Oh, okay. Yes, let me back up.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Sarah and the kids are very ill. The kids have had like flu or something, and they've given it to her. And he comes over to the house and recognizes that she's sick, and immediately jumps in to start taking care of the kids and really stepping in as that partner position and just taking over and allowing her to rest. And at the end of that evening, he's carrying her to bed. And just before they get to the threshold of her bedroom, she freaks out. There's something in her bedroom she doesn't want him to see. And she can see the hurt and disappointment on that when he's getting ready to take her to the bedroom, but she's not ready to open up about that. And it turns out she was Miss USA, and the next day she goes to him, or a few days later, she goes to him at the shop, brings her crown and sash, and opens up about her world and what's been happening. So let's continue.
This is a very vulnerable moment for her, because the reason why she displays the sashes and the crown is because it's to remind her that she got there once. So we have to, one of the things that we didn't say is Sarah grew up in this trailer park. She didn't have a lot, and she has, one of the things that Slade is very drawn to is she has two different eye colors.
Oh, yes.
They're very...
the heterochroma or something?
Yes. And so... he's immediately drawn to that. She was made fun of for that growing up. She was teased. And so she changed her life. She wore contacts. She did pageants. She did all this stuff, which led to her eventually winning Miss USA. So when she's married to Miles, in addition to that, having all the affairs, he lies about it, and he ruins her reputation, which causes all of her sponsors to pull out. She loses the title of Miss USA, all these things. And so he definitely manipulates all of the situation to his advantage.
When she's pregnant with Frankie, he denies that Frankie is his, which also impacts her.
So it impacts her losing Miss USA.
Credibility is the word I was trying to think of.
Yes, her credibility. But he's kind of like the news anchor for like the Good Morning America kind of thing. And that's like his goal. Yeah. And he's working his way to get there. So he doesn't ever answer the calls. If she does call, or if she always has her phone, because if he tries to call, she needs to pick up. He always wants to hold some kind of control over her.
Which he owes her child support and hasn't paid a dime.
He's never paid it.
He's very manipulative,
He's very, very manipulative. He's not kind to Ollie. He's rude about his speech. At one point, he does come to the house, which I love their nosy neighbor, because he's always clocking this. Not to mention that that's funny, because the way the guys are always like, go home, you know, because he's standing out there all the time like a creeper. But it actually works to their advantage when it comes to Sarah and Miles. interactions.
We talked about the fact that Sarah has had secrets that she's been keeping from Slade, and then she has a vulnerable moment exposing all of that, telling her about that. And on the flip side, Slade also has secrets that he's keeping. He opens up about his relationship, which we've already talked about her.
Right.
And so they have a little bit of honesty with one another, and they've opened up about that. Well, when she opens up to him about Miles, he recognizes that she needs some legal help.
Right. Because at this point, Miles has come back again and he's trying to manipulate her. He did get kind of the big GMA job and he's trying to manipulate her into coming back. And so Sarah has always kind of, Roxy, her friend, has always encouraged her to talk to her bosses, and she never wants to because she wants to keep her private life private from work. She recognizes now she needs legal counsel. And that's where Slade oversteps, in her opinion.
Yes. So we don't know. We got some foreshadowing about the fact that his dad is Griffin in the grocery store scene.
Yep.
In the interaction they have there. And then when Griffin actually takes Sarah to the shop to drop off, give her a ride or something, and there's an interaction there, and I thought, oh, there's a red flag there. I did not know he was going to be his dad.
I didn't either. I thought it was going to be in somehow a connection to somebody he had dated or the woman he had dated, and that's what I thought was going to be.
I didn't see the dad part coming
I didn't either.
At all.
That one
so
really...
I loved having that surprise.
I did too.
And we don't learn that he's his dad until he goes to Griffin on behalf of Sarah and says, if she comes to you for help, you're going to do it and then charge me for it. You're going to do it pro bono and then send me the invoice for it. And this is the scene where we find out that Griffin is their dad. On a side note, stepping away from Sarah for a minute, let's talk about the truth of Slade knowing this information, that Griffin is the dad, and keeping this information from Chrissy and the fallout of that when she finds out.
Well, this is interesting because Chrissy has started doing DNA matching stuff because she is curious. She wants to know if they carry the same thing that their mom had, and in that she finds that they have a relative close by, and so she keeps pushing Slade, you need to do this, you need to do this. Slade has kept the truth from her that their mom had had an affair with Griffin. Griffin was already married. He had a family.
Yeah.
And for years, she was his secret mistress.
Yeah.
And
he wouldn't leave his family.
Right. And Slade does not want Chrissy to find out because he doesn't want it to taint her view of their mom. At some point, Chrissy finally finds out that Slade has known for several years who their dad is. And she feels very hurt and betrayed because she says, you lied to me. And he says, I didn't lie to you. I just didn't say anything. And she says, a lie by omission is still a lie, which it is.
Yeah.
And so I understood Chrissy's perspective on this 100%.
Me too. Yeah, and it gets to the point where the guys are messaging Slade because she's shut all the guys out. She's really just kind of needing some time to process on her own. At this point, she's got a place that she's living in. And so I do like the fact that Slade does go to her apartment after a length of time of her ignoring him, and they do talk through it. They're still not fully mended, but they're at least on speaking terms and starting to work towards that. Let's shift over now back to Sarah and how when she finds out that Slade went to Griffin on her behalf, the fallout from that decision.
Yeah, he's kind of having all these little fights. The Sarah fight and the Chrissy fight, and
Poor
the two
Slade.
women is the wife are not talking to him. She feels very betrayed. I have to say, I didn't really agree with her reaction. I didn't feel like it needed to be as intense as it was. I could understand being frustrated.
Yeah.
But I think that once he explained himself, he was just trying to protect her. But she wants to do all of this on her own because Miles just took so much from her. And so I understand where she's coming from, but I also, I don't know, I'm one of those, you can't judge another person for somebody else's actions.
Well, in addition to that, she has this fear in her mind because Miles has received this job in New York. She's thinking she's going to have to move there. Right. And there's a scene where Slade is tucking Ollie in, and Ollie tells Slade that he loves him. And when Slade opens up to Sarah about that, she panics a bit and says, we're going to have to be careful about that. Because in her mind, she doesn't want Slade to get too close to her kids or vice versa, and her, and then her have to take her kids and move to New York to be by Miles because her kids are always going to come first. So she has this fear, and when they finally everything kind of comes to a head. Miles comes to visit her at the house. He comes over, intervenes, and they have this open dialogue and conversation. And he explains to her, I'm not here for a one-night stand. Like,
right.
I want to be in this for the long haul. And I think that finally gives her some peace of mind to move forward with him.
Yep.
After Miles goes back to New York, there is some information hitting the interwebs and the news circuit about Miles. Let's talk about his indiscretions and what finally gives Sarah some peace of mind.
It was interesting because you think there might be this big legal battle thing that happens and something is gonna turn. We have to make mention that she did not go with Griffin to help her. She went with her other boss, that is her friend.
Yes.
To help her. But they have everything lined up, and then all these people start coming out that letting the world know what Miles is really like from the way he's used them. And
it to be a little bit more blown up than it was. It seemed a little like peaceful.
It kind of just, he loses his position. Yes, it does. It fizzles out. And I love the way Stacy just kind of dealt with that very quickly, that we didn't have to have a long drawn out thing with Miles, because he was just so awful that I was ready for him to go away. So
yeah,
good on her for doing that very quickly for us so that Slade and Sarah could be together.
Yes. Well, let's round out our chat with Slade, Sarah, the kids, and the happily ever after.
I love this happily ever after. It's just the cozy feeling that you get. I love that Slade is out there playing with Ollie. He's asking, can he marry his mom? And which is so sweet when they do that. And I love when he says, is this about the baby? Just kind of spoils it. I love him going to Sarah and her being upset because his birthday surprise is ruined. And finding out that they're going to be a family and that they're going to get married. It just kind of a lot is happening in their HEA. But it was so beautiful, and it wrapped up this story so well because he's gaining a family. She's gaining a family. They're creating a family together. And it was just a really sweet story.
All the warm fuzzy
All the warm fuzzies. Just a hint of the holidays.
Yes.
Not enough to make us...
taste.
Just a little taste.
Little taste of booby cookies. For the holiday season.
Which is what Amy and I like for our holiday stories. That wraps up our discussion of Stuck With You. We hope you enjoyed it. Want to continue the conversation with us? You can hit us up on Instagram at Postbook Depression Podcast or on our Facebook page at Postbook Depression Discussion Group. You can also email us at postbookdepressionpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, keep reading.